Pretty Nerdz. 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 Pretty Nerdz.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Pretty Nerdz podcast. This is your girl, Nay. Falan DeAnn is out again this week, but no worries because she'll be back next week. As usual, I'm going to bring you this week's hot topics as well as the relationship question of the week and the nerd moment of the week. So let's go ahead and jump right in and get started with these hot topics. All right, so up first, I want to start with Breonna Taylor. As you guys know, in our last show, we talked about Breonna Taylor's murder extensively and how the officers still hadn't been brought to justice. Currently, the officers still have not been brought to justice. There have been no arrests made. It's been months since this incident occurred, and there still have not been any arrests made in regards to the officers and the killing of Breonna Taylor. This week, though, there was a small victory in that Breonna's Law was passed in Louisville, Kentucky. Basically, Breonna's Law states that the police cannot do any no-knock warrants within the state of Kentucky. So that was passed there. Obviously, we saw as well that they did ban the use of any type of chokeholds or anything like that. That's kind of in regards to George Floyd and the situation with that. And we're seeing a lot of kind of states across the board starting to kind of understand that, okay, there needs to be at least some type of reform that is taking place. So a lot of them have already put in place to ban chokeholds. We're seeing some different type of laws. Like I said, the small victory that occurred in Louisville, Kentucky was that Breonna's Law was passed so that they will not be doing any more no-knock warrants. We're seeing certain states also enact where officers, if they see another officer who is engaging in, any type of misconduct or detrimental behavior, they are to step in. Like it should have been part of their protocol, but now I guess it's part of their protocol and training that they are obligated to step in if there's any type of situation in regards to them seeing misconduct from their fellow officers. Also, we're seeing some states that are going completely, just throwing out everything and reforming the system. They're voting to dismantle their current police and come up with different ways to police the community, whether that be removing. What I'm seeing basically is a lot of removing police from places like schools and basically non-violent crimes and things of that nature, and just kind of defunding some of the police, the massive amounts of funds that the police receive and redistributing that money some back to the communities that they're supposed to be serving. So hopefully we'll start to see less emphasis on the prison pipeline, basically throwing everybody in prison, and we'll start to see some different approaches to I guess the way that we police our communities, which I think is a positive step in the right direction. Obviously, like I said, with Breonna's Law being passed in Kentucky, that definitely was a positive step as well. I would love to see that be something that is nationwide, because no-knock warrants should not be okay in any state, period. So I would love to see that go nationwide. But I mean, we're making some small steps. Some small steps have been made, definitely. But we obviously cannot give up the fight. We have to keep pushing, keep going. As I stated at the top of the show, Breonna Taylor's murderers still have not been brought to justice. No officers have been charged at all. We saw the release of the report that the Louisville Police Department released as far as the incident was concerned, and it was basically blank, which was absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, how was the incident report blank? With all of the things that occurred, how do you come back with a blank incident report? If you're not hiding something, if you're not covering something up, there's no way that incident report should have been full of blanks. Like when it talked about her injuries, like basically y'all shot her multiple times and killed her. In her injuries, it was blank for her injuries. Like it was listed as blank. That should tell y'all something ain't right here completely. So we are not giving up that fight. We're still pushing for the arrest of the officers who killed Breonna Taylor. There's still plenty of marches still going on. If you guys see out, in the street, there are definitely still several marches still occurring. Several protests still going on. Obviously, still visit the multiple sites. As I have stated multiple times on the show, please do your own research. Make sure you know exactly who you are donating to and where those funds are going. So, like for me, what I did simply, I did some research as far as like the local organizations where I'm from, and that's how I chose to donate. I found the bailout fund here in my local state, and I donated directly to them. I didn't go through the official Black Lives Matter website or anything like that. I just did my own research, found the local initiatives that are taking place where I am, and that's where I chose to donate. So I know exactly where my money is going, who my money is helping, and there are records and things of that are, that I can see, that I can see where the progress is being made and where my funds are going as far as helping the cause and helping the people that it's really supposed to help. So again, do your own research when it comes to those donations. Make sure you know where your money is going and that it's actually going towards the cause and helping out our people, because that is the most important thing as far as I'm concerned, especially when it comes to donating your hard-earned money that I know you're out there working for. So make sure you do your own research, okay? Don't just follow somebody else's path or whatever, or advice. Research your own donations, okay? Point blank and period. As far as the movement is concerned, we have been seeing some other things kind of pop up, some other kind of talks that have popped up. We saw, I don't know, it's one of the dolls. I think it was Asian doll. I want to say it's Asian doll. We saw where she spoke up about colorism and her experiences as far as being a dark-skinned woman. Basically, we all know the colorism debate that takes place. So, we saw her speak on that and her situation. There were some people who were trying to kind of silence her in a sense and saying, oh, now is not the time, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to hear that. Every time is a time to speak about the situations that do plague our community, that go on within our community. We know colorism is something that occurs and takes place within our community. And so it's always an appropriate time to address that. And if you see that, right now a lot of people are speaking and they're feeling comfortable speaking out, they feel like their voices are more elevated and being heard, then absolutely she should speak out on it, and she shouldn't have been like judged for it or kind of people throwing stones at her. She's a dark-skinned woman. She has every right to speak her mind and speak her story. So there should not have been any kind of stones thrown at her. And I hate when people feel the need to like come for people as far as like because they don't like the way they said it. Hey, listen, you may not like the way they said it, but it doesn't negate the truth in it. So, it is what it is as in that regard. So, salute to her for feeling comfortable enough, being brave enough to speak her experience and to put it out there. That's something that we should always commend. And I would love to see more of it. I love to see when people are willing and feeling, especially our people, are willing to kind of step up when they're feeling more brave and they're feeling like their voices are being heard. So I'm here for all of that. Also, in that kind of regards, we have seen situation at one of the protests. I'm not sure which state it was, but I know it was a protest in which a Black transgender woman was brutally assaulted. Again, y'all know I don't watch those videos. I haven't watched any of the videos, whether it was George Floyd's, just any, y'all know I'm not here for it. So I didn't watch any of them, but for those of you who are okay with watching those videos, it was floating around on Twitter and Instagram and all of that, where, the young woman was brutally assaulted at one of the protests simply for just being a Black transgender woman at the you know what I mean? Which is unacceptable. It's not okay. It shouldn't be occurring. We shouldn't be like just brushing over it it's a situation. It's something within our own community that needs to be addressed. So we're starting to see a lot of folks in the LBGTQ community speaking up, saying, hey, we're Black too. We're out here, we're protesting, and and we want to be a part of this movement, and we want to, but we can't, but we don't want to go to these protests amongst our people and have to feel unsafe and feel like we're going to be attacked or brutalized. Which, listen, I fully agree. They are a part of our community. All Black lives matter. You know what I mean? You can't just discount someone because of their sexual orientation, their gender. We need to be speaking loudly for everybody, for Black men, for Black women, for Black children, for Black LGBTQ. Everybody within our community needs to be represented because we are all Black and we are all out here being brutalized by the police. Everybody is affected. All of us are. We are all affected by systematic racism. All of us feel those effects. So it's important that us as a community, we come together and we support all Black folks. You know what I mean? Support everybody, because all of us are out here in this fight and putting, you know what I mean, out here in our own way within the fight, whether it's donating funds, whether it's on the front lines, at the protests, whether it's in political offices or trying to be in political offices to make changes to laws, whether it's lawyers and doctors coming together to have their own influence, whether it's people out there trying to influence us as Black folks to create generational wealth. I mean, just it's an abundance of people, whatever their lane is that they're choosing as far as how to help our people. We need to be supporting all of them. You know what I mean? We need to be supporting all of the Black folks who are out there tirelessly working their asses off for the cause and for the movement, regardless of sexual orientation or gender, or how big or how small their contribution is. Any Black person that is out there making a contribution, whether it's just literally just fucking surviving, that is a feat in itself. So like I said, at the end of the day, what I really, really, really want to see, and I just want to see us all come together as Black people, Black and brown folks, and just really understand, hey, that we are all in this fight, regardless of gender or sexual orientation, and we should be supporting each other because, like I said, we are all out there. We are all out there protesting. We all face systematic racism. We all go through these same things, and so we just need to really come together and be out there supporting each other. There should be no Black person when they go to these protests and they are amongst their people. They should not feel like they're going to be brutalized, attacked, or unsafe. That is unacceptable. It is unacceptable, period. Like I said, that video where that young trans woman, where she was brutalized was, I didn't watch it, but from, the people that I spoke to within the LGBT community, basically it's something that you didn't want to see. That's what I'm telling y'all. So there should be at no point in time where someone within our community comes to one of these protests in order to protest the things that are occurring against us, and then they are brutalized and attacked the way that young woman was. It was absolutely just heinous, and we shouldn't brush it under the rug. We need to, we need to be able to look at things in the mirror and reflect on it and say, okay, this can't happen. You know what I'm saying? When we are out here fighting, literally putting our bodies on the line, this cannot happen. This cannot occur. So, needless to say, we have seen some protests pop up. We saw one that occurred in Brooklyn. We saw another one that occurred in LA, where they basically were addressing, the situations as far as the Black trans women who, which again, I also want to draw attention to because we haven't talked about it. I don't think we've talked about it here on this show, but I want to draw attention to it. And this has been going on obviously for years and years and years, but something that I know has been really brushed over under the rug for, I want to say, at least for me, it really became noticeable, I want to say, within the last 2 years, where we literally, it's almost like weekly, where we're seeing where a Black trans woman has been brutalized or murdered. Some of the stories are, if you just sit and talk to someone within the LGBT community, you talk to someone who is transgender, some of the stories are horrific. And as far as what is happening and what is occurring to these women. And at this point, like I said, we've seen these protests, the one that took place today in Brooklyn and another one in LA. And we're continuing to see where they are, also calling for, at the same time, calling for us to, recognize what's going on. What as far as, because, like I said, all Black folks are affected by police brutality, are affected by this type of brutality. So it's important that we, are speaking for all Black people, period. If you guys want to get more involved, just honestly, the best thing I can do is just to, reach out to some of your LGBTQ. I keep saying it so fast, and it's and I feel like I'm like leaving out a letter, but the best thing to do is just to speak, to reach out to one of your friends within the community, and they will tell you ways to get involved. Just the same way that you do your own, that you do your research as far as where you want to donate your money, as far as the books and things that you want to read up on, or you know what I mean, as far as how to be a part of what's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement, what's going on with the movement in general. It works the same way. You know what I mean? Reach out, speak to someone within the LGBTQ community to become more educated on it. Do some research. There are books out there. You know what I mean? It's 2020, man. There's no excuses anymore to be ignorant or uneducated about something. So, like I said, do your research, reach out, and let's just keep busting, keep busting down these doors, knocking doors down, and making change. Let's keep pushing forward. Like I said, we've seen some small victories. Hopefully we get to see more. Like I said, I'm really, really hoping that with this Breonna Taylor situation, that it's just not brushed under the rug, that people just don't forget about it, that people don't forget about her, that her voice is still elevated, and that we will actually see some arrests occur within, for her murder. I'm really hoping for it. Only time will tell, though. Hopefully we'll get somewhere with that. Also kind of sticking, because it is Pride Month, so kind of sticking to that, we saw the Trump administration, to no one's surprise, they reversed an Obama administration order, that basically the Obama administration, they put in place a rule where healthcare providers could not discriminate as far as who they provided healthcare to based on sexual orientation, gender, things of that nature. This week we saw the Trump administration completely reverse that rule. So now it is okay for healthcare providers to deny care to anyone that they perceive to be gay, queer, transgender. They can tell you if they think you're trans, no, I don't have to service you. If they think that you're gay, they can deny you to any type of medical treatment. So listen, at this point, I am no longer surprised by anything that this current administration does. So yeah, I mean, that's all you can say to that. Like when I saw it come across, I was like, I'm not even shocked anymore. I'm not even surprised anymore. Let's just say if you can vote and you feel the call to vote, get your ass out there and vote come November, because in all honesty, like at this point, that's all you can say when it comes to Trump. Is just like, wow. You know what I mean? Because it's wow. It's a lot. So needless to say, hopefully come November, we will see a change and things will change. And some of the protections and laws and things of that nature that have been lost, hopefully come November, if there is a change, we will start to see some of those protections come back and fall back in place. Fingers crossed, Also, in regards to Pride, We have seen some folk get a little upset with Todrick Hall. He is a choreographer. He's kind of famously known for working with like the Taylor Swifts of the world and things of that nature. Recently, he was on a cover where he talked about being Black and gay in America during all this time, during the times with all the protests and this and that and the other. Needless to say, folks were not happy with that just because of all of the kind of controversy, I want to say, that surrounds Todrick Hall. Again, if you don't know who Todrick Hall is, or you don't kind of know what's going on with that in that regards, like I said, just reach out to one of your LGBTQ friends or family members or things like that to talk to you and educate you about the situation. But in essence, if you have a friend who's within the LGBT community, they've probably talked about Todrick Hall in the sense that he is not known to walk with the Black gays, shall we say. You know what I mean? He's one of those people who allegiances lie elsewhere. So basically there's a lot of criticism as for why he was chosen to kind of represent the Black queer community, Black gay community, when that's not necessarily the community that he services, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? That's not the community that he serves. He's not known for that. And hey, I say that they have every right, to feel offended by that. They know, they've worked with him as folks within the Black LGBT community. They've worked with him. They've had experiences with him that haven't been positive. So if they don't feel like that he should have been the voice chosen to represent them, I think that it's important that we hear them. And if the community is saying, nah, this person doesn't represent us, this person doesn't speak to speak for us in our situations that we face, maybe the magazines or the entities that are calling upon him to represent that need to do some reevaluating and need to do some listening and get themselves some education and really dive into the community and choose the leaders that they feel represent them the best. That's on that. Kind of moving on to away from the political stuff. We're going to get out of the political realm and the politically stuff, and we're just going to get to the fun stuff. Needless to say, we mentioned a couple of weeks ago that it was rumored that our sis Teyana Taylor was pregnant. And as of this week, she has confirmed that she is expecting baby number 2, and it's also a girl. So congratulations to her and Iman. We cannot wait to see another baby. We love baby Junie, as we have stated. So congratulations to them, and can't wait to see the next one. Oh, because we know baby Junie has so much personality. We just know another Iman and Teyana baby is gonna have just as much personality and be just as dope. Also in baby news, again, we spoke about this many moons ago, a couple of weeks ago, where we talked about it was a rumor that Iggy Azalea and Playboy Cardi were not only pregnant, but that they had a son, that they welcomed their son like a couple weeks ago. This week, Iggy actually confirmed that yes, she did have a son. So as we stated back then, we shall say again, congratulations to them, to Iggy Azalea and Playboy Cardi for the birth of their son. Hopefully all things are well in that realm. Baby announcements, especially during this time and with all the craziness that's going on in the world, babies are a blessing and happiness. So congratulations to both Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert and Iggy Azalea and Playboy Cardi. So let me see what else we got here. So let's jump into the last topic that I have for this week. Your girl B. Simone. B. Simone did an interview with Nick Cannon, where basically she was talking about the type of man that she wanted. In that interview, she said that she did not want to date someone who had basically, as far as the type of man she wanted, she did not want someone who had a 9-to-5, like he could not be working a 9-to-5 job. She said he had to be an entrepreneur. She said that it's It's not about, she said it was not about the money, that it's just about the mindset. As far as she feels like someone who is an entrepreneur and someone who works a 9 to 5, that their mindset is too different, and that they can't relate to each other. You know what I mean? That I guess they couldn't understand each other or relate to each other in that regard. So whatever. Basically, that whole situation blew up the entire internet. Everybody had an opinion on it. Everybody went crazy about it. My thoughts, plain and simple, is that we all have preferences. Our preferences are going to be based on the things that we've experienced in life. Sometimes it's just the things that in our mind we think that we want, or we think that we need in life. And as we grow, change, blah, 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 those preferences may change. They may become different. They may become more solidified. They may become deal breakers for us. But nonetheless, we all have preferences. We're all entitled to have preferences. And if she prefers not to date someone who has a 9 to 5, then I don't see anything wrong with that. It's not my preference. It's not something that, that I fully agree with, but I'm not her, and I haven't lived her life or went through her life experiences. So I can't, speak to her and what she prefers and what she believes that she needs in her life, or what she wants for her life. So, and I don't think that people should be mad at her for that. If she feels like she doesn't want to date a guy who has a 9 to 5, then hey, that's on her. More guys for me. Sorry. Hey, listen, I'm with it. You work a 9 to 5, you're an entrepreneur, you got a job, man. Listen, I'm here for you. Okay. So, needless to say, if she feels like that she doesn't want to date a guy who has a 9 to 5, then that is absolutely on her. She is definitely entitled to that. It's definitely her prerogative. I will say, just to kind of throw out some advice there, I will say that as you grow older, you definitely begin to learn that people aren't defined by their job title, or what they do, what they work, as far as what their job is, or quote unquote the hours that they work. You will find that whoever the right person for you is, regardless of what they do, if they want to understand you and the life that you're living and they want to be a part of it, they will find a way. Whether it's making time for you, whether it's understanding, hey, you're working at this hours, I'm working, you know what I mean? It'll happen. People will find a way when they want something, when they feel like it needs, they want that in their life and they want that person in their life. People will find a way to make it work. So I would say, by all means, have your preferences, but don't be so locked into to them. If that makes sense? Don't be so locked into your preferences, because, unless I will say, unless your preference is a deal breaker, is also a deal breaker for you. Now, if it's a deal breaker for you, then by all means, you know how I feel about deal breakers. I fully support deal breakers. So I feel like everybody should have their deal breakers. You should know your deal breakers and you should stick to them. Okay. But if it's just something a preference that you feel like you need in your life, or that you want in your life, don't be so locked into it or so rigid that you miss your blessing. You know what I mean? That you miss your connection, or you miss the connection, or you miss someone who, potentially could have leveled up your happiness in your life. You know what I mean? So that's my take on that. Then we come to the second B. Simone topic that has been on everybody else's, that kind of, we jump from the 9 to 5 situation, which, like I said, I had zero issue with, as far as her saying that, because like I said, we're all entitled to our preferences. Now we're at this situation, I guess, where she offended so many people for whatever reason who were offended by that they went to digging. You know how Twitter and all of these folks get when they feel like I don't know. Listen, I don't get it. But when they feel like somebody didn't offended them, they get to digging. And they dug and yeah. Woo, it's not looking good for your girl B. Simone out here. Needless to say, the book that she put out, I am not sure what it's called. I know it has something to do with manifesting, or manifesting what you want, or something like that. I'm not sure the title of the book, but needless to say, they found that within her book that she had plagiarized some basically some other smaller content creators' work were plagiarized within the book. So my take on that is, as someone who is a content creator, it's not okay. And we can't make excuses for it. We can't just because she black, we can't be like, oh well, I mean no, it's not okay. As someone who spends time literally trying to come up with content, create content, you know what I mean? It's a lot of work. It costs a lot of money. It's not, you know what I mean? Like there's cost involved in it. It's a thankless, you know what I mean? It's a job. It's work that you have to put into it to create that content, to get people to engage in it. So it's not okay for her to take someone else's work and pass it off as her own. We shouldn't be applauding it. We shouldn't be like, oh, well, let's just let it slide. Woo, woo, woo. No. It is okay to call out someone for being blatantly wrong. That's okay. Now for all those folks who then jumped out the window with, oh, she canceled and blah 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 blah. No. I like I said, there are two kind of arguments on it. That you have some people who kind of are on the Meek Mill route where they feel like okay, so she finessed a couple of people or whatever like that. That don't mean that we should tear her down. Then there are other people who are completely like, she was wrong and she don't need to blah blah blah, who have jumped all the way out the window. I feel like there's a middle ground, and there should always be a middle ground, that there's a meeting of the minds there where both sides can be correct without with also being wrong. I guess that makes sense, right? Both sides can be correct, but they can also be wrong at the same time. It's not okay that she plagiarized, and it's not okay for us to just say, oh, she black, so we got to support that. No. There are a lot of black folks who are out here tirelessly working, creating, trying to build those platforms that we can be placing our hard-earned dollars and support behind. It is not okay for her to steal content from anybody, any creative, period. But at the same time, folks do fuck up. They do make mistakes. We shouldn't be throwing her out the window, wishing bad things on her, this, that, and the other because she fucked up. It's not a quote unquote reason to cancel her or whatever like that. At the end of the day, pull the book. If she has to face lawsuits, pay that shit and move on and continue to find success. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Don't not support her. Watch her on Wild and Out, go to her comedy show, support her in that, support her in any other endeavors or products future endeavors that she chooses to make. But in this instance, with this book, she was wrong. She needs to be held accountable for that and move on. Point blank and period. Like there's no reason to quote unquote cancel her or dwell on that whole situation. But there also isn't, we shouldn't turn a blind eye to it either. It's okay to hold people accountable for when they make a mistake. That is okay. It's not okay to jump out the window and be like, throw them completely away as far as that whole situation is concerned. So I feel like at the end of the day, let's be honest, the internet ain't never really ever canceled nobody. They ain't really never canceled except for Chrisette Michele. I mean, damn, Chrisette really, like, if we think about it, Chrisette really the only person who ever actually really been canceled. Like, she the only person that y'all asses actually stuck to. And all she did was perform at an inauguration. Kanye ass was all the way out here with the red hat, mega country and everything. And y'all made every excuse for your boy Kanye. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole different topic. I will say that, I do see a lot of points being made when they talk about how easily it is to cancel black women. How easily y'all will cancel black women as opposed to everybody else. That is big facts, big facts, big facts. But nonetheless, that is a topic for another day. But I will say that is big facts, okay? Because y'all will definitely cancel a black woman with the quickness before y'all cancel anybody else. Well, shit, because y'all ain't ever canceled anybody else. Hell, a lot of y'all asses is still out here running around bumping R. Kelly. So listen, we don't trust y'all judgment anyway. So needless to say, B Simone, my good sis, basically, like I said, pull the book, which I believe they've already said it's already no longer available on the website. Pull the book, make your apologies for stealing the content, for plagiarizing, whatever. If you face some lawsuits or if you get sued, if you got to pay the people that you stole from, let's be honest. Let's, pay the people that you stole from, make amends, and then move on and continue to build, grow, and be the successful woman, the successful Black woman that you are and you will continue to be. And it's that simple. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my take on the whole B Simone situation, and that is all the hot topics that I have for you guys today. I am going to now move into the relationship portion of the show and jump right into the relationship question of the week. And this relationship question directly ties into that whole B Simone situation in regards to her preference with not dating men who have a 9-to-5. So the relationship question for this week is, can your preferences be a hindrance to you finding love or finding a relationship? So my response to the relationship question is yes and no. I do believe that your preferences can be a hindrance on you finding love or relationship or whatnot if your preference is built on hate or fetishization. Basically, like we've all seen those people who, I only want to date the Black man because he has this and that. He's quote unquote, he's known to have this or that and the other. Or I only want to date a Black a white man because when we have interracial babies, they'll come out light with the good hair or pretty eyes or things of that nature. So we've all seen people who have these weird like fetishes, and they try to pass it off as preferences. They fetishize certain features that they want in children and things which is absolutely disgusting. And I always side eye people like that who like look at pictures of kids and always side eye those people. But we've all seen those people who have these fetishes and they try to pass them off as preferences. That will always, in my opinion, hinder having a successful relationship or finding love, because it's not a preference. Like I said, it's a fetish. We've also seen the people whose quote unquote preferences are built on hate. A lot of it self-hate nonetheless, but that are built on hate. We've seen where people say, I don't date Black folks, or I don't date and I will say it's mostly on one-sided, where it's I don't date Black folks, or I don't date Latinos or Asians or whatnot. So when your preferences are built on hate, they're not built on anything logical, then I definitely believe that it can hinder your relationships. It can hinder you in just finding love in general. Because, like I said, you're going to be closing yourself off to your potential happiness, I will also say, in regards to preferences, you have to be careful, because I do see a lot of people who use preferences and deal breakers interchangeably, and they're not the same thing. Your deal breakers should be things that literally are quote unquote deal breakers, right? They should be things that you, when it comes to relationships, love, whatever, they should be things that you absolutely know, I do not want this at all in my life. It'll be a hindrance to my energy, my life, my happiness, all of that. Like, I do not want that. Like, as to me, solid deal breakers are, I don't want someone who cheats, or I want someone who, I don't want somebody who's disloyal. I don't want someone who's a pathological liar. Things of that nature. Like, those are legitimate deal breakers. But like when it comes to preferences, your preference can be anything as simple as oh, I prefer someone who has black hair, or I prefer someone with brown hair, or I like blondes, or I like brunettes, or I like redheads. It can be preferences can be something as simple as that. But I will say with preferences, like I said, you just have to be careful that you don't let those be confused with your deal breakers, because you may be closing yourself off to, that special love. You may be closing yourself off to finding your person if you allow your preferences to become your deal breakers. That's simple. That's my little take on that. I would love to kind of hear you guys' take on it. Be sure to hit the website prettynerdspodcast.com. That's nerds with the Z. Follow us on Instagram, Pretty Nerdz Podcast. Also the YouTube channel. Drop us some comments and let us know. Do you believe that preferences can hinder your relationship prospects? They can hinder you in finding love. Let us know. Drop us a line. So that is all that I have for the relationship portion of the show this week. I'm going to go ahead and quickly jump into the nerd moment of the week. So this week for the nerd moment, as you guys know, this is my favorite portion of the show. I have just a few things that I want to touch on really quickly. This isn't really a nerd moment, but I just want to mention out there to all of you folks like me who love the show Pose. If you are not watching it, you are missing out. It is such an amazing show, super dope. If you are missing out, you haven't watched Pose, lucky for you. On Netflix. It is on Netflix. The second season has just been added, so you can get all caught up. And you can know, with all of us folks out there who love the show Pose and who are Pose fans, you can know what we're talking about. So just go over there to Netflix and check it out. I highly, highly recommend it. It's such a good show. It is such a good show. So by all means, it is on Netflix. Go check it out if you get the chance to. Now, also coming to Netflix, and this is directly part of the nerd moment, something that I'm ready to see. I'm excited to see. Season 2 of The Order is scheduled to hit Netflix this week. It will be added on June 18th, so be looking out for that. We didn't talk about season 1 on here. At least I don't remember speaking about it. It came out such a long time ago, so I don't remember speaking about it. But if you aren't caught up on it, or you haven't kind of checked it out, I recommend going and check out The Order before season 2 drops, and it does come out on June 18th. It's a good show. It's a decent show. If you, like I said, I love good sci-fi fantasy type shows, so if you're into that as well, go check it out before season 2 drops. And I will talk about, after I watch season 2, I'll give you guys my review and my grade on the second season of The Order. Also, and again, this one isn't super nerdy either, but just something that I want to promote or talk about. If you liked, I don't know if you saw the Love, Simon movie, but if you liked Love, Simon, they actually do have a television show coming to Hulu called Love, Victor. It's almost like a continuation, but not a continuation from what I've seen in the previews, but it'll be debuting on Hulu on June 17th. So if you enjoyed Love, Simon, they have a television show on Hulu coming out called Love, Victor. So, you can go and check that out as well. And lastly, something that I'm super excited about, super stoked about. So as we reported a while back, obviously when the pandemic hit or whatever, we knew that it was going to come, but they did announce that San Diego Comic-Con was canceled. But it has been revealed this week that while it was canceled, they have decided to do what they're calling Comic-Con at home. It will take place July 22nd through the 26th. And if you know anything about Comic-Con, this is exciting news. It is completely, absolutely free to the public. So it's not like something where you have to get tickets, or, where they're going to be like keeping people, from tuning into the live streams or anything like that, or where you have to be on some certain certain service or something like that. It is completely free to the public. So pretty much every last one of us will get to kind of participate in the Comic-Con experience. We'll get to see the live trailers and things. Because anybody who knows about Comic-Con, the exciting part is all the dope trailers that come out, the announcements, and all the things that come out for like the upcoming movies and TV shows that will be taking place. So super excited about that. So again, July 22nd through the 26th, Comic-Con at home will be taking place. So for all of you guys out there who are like me and you can't wait to see what Marvel has in store, what new DC projects are, on the horizon to come out, it will be taking place, and we'll kind of get some updates as far as that. We may find out, hopefully, because the Flash director, the person who's supposed to be directing the Flash movie, has already dropped some teasers that we will be getting some news or announcements surrounding that. So hopefully that will come around the Comic-Con time, per usual. So super excited for that. So yeah, that is the nerd moment of the week. Per usual, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into the show, for listening, for all the support. Again, make sure you visit the website, prettynerdspodcast.com. That is nerds with the Z. Make sure you're following us on Instagram as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube page. Again, it's just the Pretty Nerdz podcast, and that is nerds with a Z. Per usual, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate all of your support. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Bye, guys.